Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the June 18th special board meeting of Merced Union High School Board of Trustees. We'll call the meeting to order at 9 a.m. Roll call, Aaron Ham.
Present.
Richard Lopez.
Present.
Tiffany Pickle, present. John Swigert.
Present.
Julio Valadez, not present. Invite everyone to stand for the flag salute, please. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Second, trustee Swigert. We'll go ahead and call for the vote then, please, Mrs. Roebuck.
Les and I.
Same.
Same.
I'll go ahead and roll call vote then also. Leslie, I'm also an aye. So motion
Okay.
passes 4-0. First agenda item. 6.01, approve agreement for option to purchase real property, purchase and sell real property in the city of Atwater.
Tiffany, I need to go ahead and recuse myself from these action items on the agenda this morning, as I've not been involved in the conversations previously, and I think it's best that I continue to remain uninvolved.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Ham.
Someone would text me when you guys are done, then I can rejoin for the report.
Okay, that
Thank
sounds
you.
good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Mr. Peterson, is this going to be Dr. Weimer?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning. I can give you a very quick overview and then move to the recommendation. And let me make sure I can share here real quick. So if we're looking at the diagram of the Atwater Business Parkway area, the red areas are the action that we already took at the previous meeting. So we are in the process of purchasing those. The two red ones are moving forward right here as we speak. This piece right here will execute once the improvements are completed. So those are ones that we have already done. The ones that are on tonight's board meeting are the two blue ones, and we are purchasing an option, which means that once the improvements are completed, we have the first rights then to approve them and buy them at the contract that's listed as an addendum to the option purchase contract. So those are the two that are on for tonight, or excuse me, for this morning. The green ones, we've had the beginnings of discussions of whether we can acquire these pieces, which would be open property. And we're hoping that the two middle ones here will come into line along with those green ones as well. But for today, the two that we're looking at are the options to purchase upon completion of the improvements that are already on file with the city of Atwater, these two blue pieces right here. This one is what we would be looking at potentially for a district office, and this one what we would be potentially looking at for a transportation office.
And what do we put down for that option to purchase?
We are putting 10% down, which would be $165,000 for one of them and $175,000 for the other.
And if we do not end up purchasing, we lose the 10%, correct?
And if we exercise the option, that money comes out of the total purchase price.
Okay. And by purchasing these additional pieces, it would give the district the space that they need to move all the necessary departments over and function as needed.
Yes. Yes.
And Dr. Weimer is part of the improvements. Like what is that? What's that inclusive of?
So for the two that we're talking about, there are approximately 10,000 square foot buildings. The exact details are in the exhibits. And so there would be a 10,000 square foot building on this one here and here. There would obviously be landscaping and asphalt that would take care of only the blue pieces. The red pieces that are Just basic land would be ours to improve at a later time, but the blue ones would then be complete. They would have services, all utility services, everything hooked up to the buildings that are existing there. There are some offices in there. We would then need to go in when we're done with the purchase of that and make it into what we want it to be. So we would have to add additional offices and other types of things inside to meet what we desire. These are something that was designed not for us, and they already have their designs on file with the City of Atwater. We would be purchasing the designs as they already exist, and then we would make it our own after that.
And then by us putting on this down payment or this 10% down, does that give us first dibs to purchase? Is that correct?
Yes, that means they can't do anything without us having the option to come in with the already agreed price if we decide to do so.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
So with that, the superintendent recommends we approve the purchase of the option to purchase and sale agreement between the district and Uncle Buck's Blazing Barbecue and Catering LLC and Valdez Company LLC of property located at 208 Business Parkway in the City of Atwater, and delegate authority to the superintendent or designee to enter into the option agreement and take any action necessary to effectuate the terms of the option agreement.
So move, Ms. Pickle.
There motion to approve? Oh, I think you just did.
So move. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And is there a second?
I will second the motion.
Thank you, John. Any further discussion? And I think we could just take a roll call vote then. Mr. Lopez?
Mr. Pickle, Mrs. Pickle, hold on just a second and let me change the attendance so that Mrs. Ham's name does not show there, okay? Actually, I'll just mark her not present at vote.
Okay.
So Miss-
Mr. Lopez?
I'm an aye.
Mr. Swigert?
I'm also an aye.
Trustee Pickle is an aye. Mrs. Ham not present for vote, and Mr. Valdez is not present for vote. So the motion would carry 3-0.
Yes, those have been marked.
Okay. We move on to item 6.02, approve agreement for option to purchase real property, purchase and sell real property in City of Atwater.
So this is the second piece, and the superintendent recommends the board approve the purchase of option to purchase and sale agreement between the district and Uncle Buck's Blazing Barbecue. Got to say that 5 times fast. And Catering and Lane and Kathy Clark of property at 268 Business Parkway in the City of Atwater, and delegate authority to the superintendent or designee to enter into the option agreement and take any action necessary to effectuate the terms of the option agreement.
So move, Ms. Pickle.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Okay, we'll take roll call vote. Mr. Lopez?
I'm an aye.
Mr. Swigert?
Aye.
I am also an aye. Mrs. Ham not present for vote. Mr. Valdez not present for vote. Motion carries 3-0. So we can move on to, we'll let Mrs. Ham know that she can come back in. And then we will proceed with reports and discussion, local control accountability plan, local indicators report with Dr. Aguilar.
Thank you. Good morning, President Pickle, Mr. Lopez, Mr. Swigard, and I think Ms. Ham is with us. All right. Bear with me here as I try to go into present mode. I'd like to take a moment and review the local indicators for our LCAP. The bulleted items here are 8 priority areas that are defined by our state. Our school district uses all 8 priority areas for their LCAP and also has local indicators for each one of them. State data is not available for some of the priority areas, which is why the state asks school districts to come up with their own local indicators. Why does the state require the local indicators? Well, it reflects the emphasis on the local control of the local control funding formula and allows for accountability both at the state and local levels. So these are in the left-hand column. These are the 8 priority areas that I've outlined. The middle column indicates the state indicators that are already in place. So for example, student achievement. When you talk about student achievement, you're talking about state testing around CASP or around English language learners, and other state testing like the physical fitness test, etc. So there are indicators that the state will report on that the school districts have to report. So these are all in the middle column indicators that the states provide. And when there's an NA, that means that the state does not provide it, but the local school agencies do need to come up with their own. So on the right-hand column, you'll see all the different indicators that we use for our school district. The local INDA requirement. So we need to annually measure the progress, that we need to report the results to our governing board along with Lcap adoption. And we also need to report the results to the public through the dashboard. So we have our own internal dashboard here in the Merced Union High School District for our local measures as well as our state measures. So what does achieving MET mean? So when the local indicators are used and we come up with our own criteria, we do self-measurement on how we are doing in each one of these areas. This is a process that we already use, for example, for our CTE programs. All of our CTE programs that receive grant funding have to go through and do a self-reflection and evaluate how we are doing as a district. We also do this in our AVID programs, for example. We do self-reflection on how we're doing to measure progress so we can then report back out to the AVID Center. So this is not a new process that we have in place. As you can see, you score a 1 if you're exploring or in a research of implementing, beginning development of implementing or establishing one of the local indicators. There's an initial implementation, full implementation, and full implementation with sustainability. So our local indicator results. So you'll see here, the first 3 columns from left to right is the grid that I shared with you previously. And on the right-hand side, you'll see the local indicator results from those. And you'll note that we meet all of our local indicators. So, you know, when people ask, well, how do you know that you've met those? Well, if you go back to the previous slide where we self-assess using the ranking of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's how we end up measuring ourselves as meeting those and reporting that out to the public and to our school board. So looking at this, local indicator results, we meet appropriately assigned teachers, standards aligned curriculum, and a yearly fit tool. Implementing state standards curriculum using site formative assessments with parent involvement. We meet that criteria through our school site council meetings, ELAC, DLAC, and CT advisory meetings. We also meet the criteria under student achievement due to the participation and the pass rate for our SEALA by literacy. College credit students are receiving our A through G completion, our graduation rates, and AP advanced placement participation. For student engagement, we meet that criteria as well due to the number of students and clubs that we have on campuses, athletics, activities, community service, and CTSO's career technical student organizations. So like your FFA, for example, that would be considered a CTSO. So we're meeting that area as well. Next, under school climate, we send out surveys to parents, to community, and students, and we do have safety drills on every campus and pass those successfully every year. Under course access, we do have an annual curriculum council every year. It's in the fall, it's in October. So any new courses that want to be offered, any name changes to courses, or any agreements that we want to have with institutions of higher ed like Merced College or UC Merced for students to earn college credit through the Merced Union High School District, there's an opportunity for them there. So we're also meeting the course access criteria. And then lastly, under student outcomes, we have our college and career indicator. And again, this is an area that we're at 68% of our students are meeting the college and career indicator as being met. So again, we're this is definitely an area of emphasis for us and an area that we've been very, very successful with. And that is, again, with college credit, A through G completion, seal of biliteracy, CTE pathway completion, CTE certifications, and soon to be added work-based learning. That criteria is all state criteria, but is also criteria that we use for a local indicator. And that.
Dr. Aguilar, do you mind if I ask a question, or do you prefer we wait till the end?
Nope, this is it. I'm done.
Are these non-duplicated, meaning if a student has A to G completed, they also have a seal of biliteracy, they also have a CTE completion, are they counted multiple times, or is this for each student in the district, you're checking the box if they have any of those things and they're counted once?
Yeah, these are duplicated as well, because we have several students that meet several of these. So they're duplicated all through our local indicator results.
Is there a way to see them unduplicated?
There is. We would have to really pull and disaggregate that data. We do have the data on our Lcap dashboard, so you can already break that up through ethnicity, through socioeconomically disadvantaged. That is on our Lcap dashboard, but I'm afraid that those numbers would also be duplicated. So some students that are receiving college credit could also be in the calculation for students that are A through G completers and such. But we can disaggregate that if that was something you'd like for me to do.
I think it would be really helpful. I think it would be more indicative of how successful our students are. Because 68% sounds okay, but what is it really on if you don't mind, I'd appreciate knowing. Thank you.
Is this something that we could start tagging in Aries through the fields and just be able to run queries as needed to, to identify how many students we have meeting each one of those criteria? Maybe moving forward.
Yes, and if you bear with me here, since we are here, let me pull up this quick dashboard so I can share with you what's there already. Let's see here. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again. So this is the Lcap dashboard that I was referring to, and this is on our district website under the Lcap section. So by clicking Merced Union High School District Local Priorities, these are the 4 goals that we have for our Lcap. So under the first goal, all students college and career ready, if you click on that, you're going to get these indicators here, which we will update here at the end of this semester. But for example, you have A through G course completion rate. So if you click on that section, you're going to see all the schools by student as to who is completing A through G requirements. In the top right corner, you have the different years. So this is 1920. You can go all the way back to 2012, 2013. If you hover over the longitudinal bars, you're going to see the total number. So here you'll see 36.12% of our students are meeting A through G completion. So that's 874 out of the 2,400. That's the cohort of seniors. Okay, and you can see the numbers by school by hovering over all of the different longitudinal bars. Now, right above, you'll see the filter bars. And you see the little caret, I call it a caret. You can break those out by race and ethnicity, gender, grade level. So let's just click race and ethnicity. So if you look at the students completing an A through G or A through G requirements, you'll see the different groups here for our students. So you'll see for the Merced Union High School District, 34% of American Indian or Alaska Native students are meeting that requirement. For Asian, for Black and African American, you're looking at 28.6%. So that's 37 out of 129 students. So again, you can hover over the longitudinal bars. So there is more data here that you can go through. There's the F rate, aggregated AP data, our math data, ELA data. We'll be updating these metrics for this upcoming year. And all of this data is renewed at the end of every semester. And there's a description here at the top as to the criteria that we use. So I hope that kind of lends a little bit more to the transparency and the questions around some of the data that we're collecting.
Any other questions?
Hey, Dr. Aguilar, so for our local indicators, do we use the DTS template to upload our data?
For the LCAP, we do.
Okay.
And after our board meeting the other night, I went back and thought, okay, did I miss the template? Well, I called Aaron Tarazon from DTS. I don't know, you probably, Tiffany and Richard, you probably know Aaron from DTS. And of all, this is how small of a world we live in. So I asked him, I said, hey, did I miss something here in the, the state dashboard? Is there a template for the local indicators? And he said, no, there is not. School districts just use a slide deck to present those. However, he said there is a school district near you that asked for a template, and we created one. And since then, we've shared it with a lot of school districts. And I said, oh, really? Who's that school district? And they said, well, Atwater Elementary. So he shared that template. So I was just sharing with Cheryl Garman that template is in our DTS file now. So what we're going to do as Cheryl transitions out of doing the LCAP this year, and we have Jeanette McCauley coming in. Jeanette McCauley and I will be working on the LCAP here for next year, and she and I will sit through and fill out that template that has been provided to us by DTS, and we'll add that to as a separate file to the LCAP. The local indicators do not need to be part of the LCAP. They just needed to be reported to you.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be a separate link so that you can look at the LCAP indicators along with the LCAP that was approved.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Aguilar.
Thank you.
Since that was a report, discussion item, no action is required. So with that, we can adjourn the meeting at 9:23. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Good weekend.